10 years later, the girl's still missing, but the media attention declined like drastically.
Yeah.
Which also has to do with that the conflict is not easy or like it's too complex. Or women have been used for sexual pleasure, reproduction. Reproduction was a really important role because it could produce future fighters and also tie them more to the group. What is also often not mentioned with this whole Chibok abduction is that before the abduction happened, the authorities actually captured some of Boko Haram's wives. There have been many more abductions on boys' schools, on other communities, and it's really important to not like forget that by just talking about Chibok. Even though like Chibok girls followed this ideal victim status, that was not translated in the reintegration.
Welcome, dears. It's episode 2 of our podcast. I'm Michelle.
I'm Lucien.
And we have a guest.
We are happy to receive Lorna Lehmann, a graduate cum laude at the master program International Crimes, Conflict and Criminology. And she wrote her thesis on the reintegration of the Chibok girls abducted by Boko Haram, focused on how gendered strategies and in international responses shape their experiences.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Really interesting.
Welcome. Yeah, it's really interesting. I had a chance to go through it.
Yeah, perfect.
And I was curious to know what first drew you to this research.
Yeah, so in my master's program, we learned about a lot about different conflicts.
Yeah.
And I've always been interested in the aspect of sexual violence because it appears in almost every conflict. And I feel like there's already like a lot of research is done about it as well. But I still feel like there's still so much to learn also in respect to reintegration. And then I remember the Chibok case because it happened in 2014 that the girls were abducted by Boko Haram, which were about 276 girls. And I was like, back in 2014, it was such a media outrage, and like you could hear it everywhere. You had this whole campaign, Bring Back Our Girls, where Michelle Obama and other celebrities also took part. And I was like, interesting. What is the situation now? So I looked into that, and I was like actually quite shocked that still 82 girls are not accounted for 10 years later. So yeah, that was a starting point.
Yeah, but did you know about this case before you conduct your research on it, or? Back in 2014.
Yeah, I remember it from the news. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
'Cause I was 10.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too aware.
I think I was 13, 14, but I remember it on the news.
Yeah, but how was it for you, like back then?
Yeah, honestly, just another news story because, I don't know, like you always have shocking news stories, but it was quite, intense because I was like around the same age as well.
Yeah.
It's like, growing up in Germany, and that's like, totally different experience to what these girls are going through. So quite shocking.
Yeah, but how about the community here, like people here? Do you think like they were very familiar with the situation that was just happening?
So I've also asked like colleagues or like my professors and friends and also family about the situation, and a lot of them could actually remember the news story and also Boko Haram, but not much more about like because they had attacked many more schools.
Yeah.
And most people only knew this like main story from the Chibok girls.
Yeah.
And the situation was really dramatic because like the authorities and the government really didn't act fast enough. At first they thought it was just a rumor and it was set to harm the re-election of the then president. So they acted too slow. And I also talked to experts and they said like if people had reacted immediately, the girls would all been back.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. And so local people, families, they started the Bring Back Our Girls movement, which ultimately led to this whole global campaign or this acknowledgement of the campaign, where celebrities also, like U.S. celebrities, were part of. Yeah, and now it's there had been deals with Boko Haram to release some of the girls, but it all has been really slow and frustrating, and also a bit like unclear. And today, still 82 girls are not accounted for, and no one knows if they are dead, if they are,
So
fully converted.
Their situation is just like basically unknown.
Yeah,
Crazy.
It is even more interesting because I think you also said something about idea of victims, and I was curious to know what the role that media play in this, especially the Western media, because that's what gave, I would say, power to this movement. So
Yes, the media played a really big role. It also, with this whole Chibok abduction and the media attention, people said now Boko Haram is really on the international scale of like a jihadist movement, because before they were known, but now they're internationally known. So it really gave them a lot of attention, which was not like at all good. And what you said, the ideal victim played an important role, because the Chibok girls were not the only children that were abducted and harmed. Actually, there were about 17 more cases, like known cases, probably more unknown cases, and around, I think it was around 1,700 children that had been abducted.
Gosh.
And also, many boys schools where the children either had been killed or been forced into recruitment and fighters. But the Chibok girls gained so much attention because if you apply this ideal victim theory, they were blameless. They were
immaculate per se.
They were also following an honorable task in like this perspective of like, they were actually about to get their school exams.
They were studying.
They were Christian girls, which also played like into this image of like the Islamist terrorist and the
against the Christians.
And what is interesting, the Boko Haram also attacked Muslim communities, Muslim schools, but
so they don't really discriminate.
Yeah, you almost never hear that in the news or heard that. So really, also at that time, at this moment, you also didn't have any other really big world news. So it was also at this time in the media cycle where there was like space for the story. But what you can see, because 10 years later, girls still missing, but the media attention declined like drastically. Which also has to do with that the conflict is not easy, or like it's too complex. And also it's too long, like the timestamp, it's too long. It's over 10 years now. And that's really interesting how this like really also gives. And you had a lot of organizations that after the media captured it, went there with their interventions that they assumed would help. But I also heard from one expert who was like also really an expert of the whole situation. He said that even like the Nigerian media after the Western international media captured it on that such a big scale, they also thought like, let's also do that. You hope media to be neutral and just capture what's happening, but also they capture things that also gives them the attention and money.
They're also going to be biases for it.
And also in the whole Chibok case, there has been like so many different storylines and also victims that haven't been paid attention to at all. Being like old men, they were like completely out of the picture because they were not like perceived as the presentable victim probably in the whole media. It's also, I think, like, there are biases and motivations that are definitely driving this, like, whole, capturing.
But do you think that there is an alternative to this, to media, mainstream mostly? For example, what's happened in Congo, at the beginning you couldn't see it anywhere. And the population starts calling media like, hey, something is happening in Congo. And there was this campaign that started on social media. So it's just like alternative channel. It started as like around this killing in Congo. And before that, you saw like our influencer, social influencer, leaders, everyone was talking about what is happening. And progressively, you could start seeing it on media.
Yeah.
So it was like this force that pushes media to act actually where they're supposed to be in front line and cover what is happening.
Yeah, I think social media definitely plays a role in capturing today's conflicts. And also what you saw in Gaza, you also had a lot of people filming what's happening. And also there is also from like, I don't really remember the name, but there's also a whole movie made of one guy filming what's happening, which is, it really is a new perspective that we have nowadays to the conflict, like that really captures what's happening, and it's not like narrated by any media, but it also definitely pushes the media also to react to it. Because like, everybody already sees it.
Is it a failure for traditional media?
Interesting. Not a media expert.
How do you consider this a failure, though?
I think it's another like challenge as well.
Yeah.
But also, it offers a new angle, and the media definitely should work with that. Otherwise, it will work against them.
But going back to your work, you focused more on the gender role in conflict. Would you like to elaborate more about this?
Yeah, so I was really interested in this whole gender aspect because the Boko Haram abducted girls and boys for different roles, where the girls or women have been used for sexual pleasure, reproduction. Reproduction was a really important role because it could produce future fighters and also tie them more to the group. And also they used the patriarchal picture of like women and men, where the women are the caretakers and the men are the providers. So boys' schools that were attacked by Boko Haram, they used the boys mostly for recruitment. Also, of course, probably, I don't really know any cases, but for sure also sexual harassment, assault. And you had a lot of cases of women being used as sexual slaves or forced wives. And a new technique that Boko Haram used was using these girls and abducted women as suicide bombers, which was a new strategy back in 2014. And also into this perspective of women not being like more passive, it let them go into more soft targets like markets without suspicion, so they could actually harm more people by the suicide bombs.
But then there was this phase of intervention. Do you think that it was a success or not? Like not only liberating the girls that were taken, but also their reintegration in society.
There have been some successful efforts, but I wouldn't it's not entirely successful. Also because the whole intervention was really complicated and complex, and also the Nigerian government and authorities made it even more complex by not being open to some kind of help. And also not helping immediately when the attack happened, because it could have been an easier solution.
It didn't have to be that big of a scale.
And the Nigerian government had this rule that it didn't want to get in contact or, how do you say?
They were not in contact with
the terrorist groups. They don't want to make deals with the terrorists.
Yeah.
So at one point, the Swiss government stepped in with the Red Cross to get some of the, to release some of the girls for some...
Through negotiation.
What is also often not mentioned with this whole Chibok abduction is that before the abduction happened, the authorities actually captured some of Boko Haram's wives. And experts said, like, well, you have to pay attention to that. If you don't release the wives, they are going to do the same.
For clarity,
yeah,
they're old wives or the girls that were taken?
No, they're before the Chibok abduction. They abducted, not abducted. The authorities captured, or how do you say, put them in captivity.
Yeah.
Some of Boko Haram's wives, because the fight has been ongoing before 2014 with Boko Haram, and there had been some, interventions from the authorities.
Like a double hostage situation.
Yeah, basically. So that was really interesting.
Yeah.
What are other key takeaways that you feel like media glossed over? Because you said that a lot of things weren't talked about.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it is important to say that a lot of other people and communities were harmed.
Yeah.
And even though the Chibok case got the biggest attention, it's not the only case. And but there have been many more abductions on boys' schools, on other communities, and it's really important to not like forget that by just talking about Chibok. And also because the communities are so big and also sometimes live like really rural, so you don't even know like how many people have been harmed there. So you can throw around with numbers, but the dark number is always higher. And another key takeaway for me was that even though like the Chibok girls got like followed this ideal victim status, that was not translated in the reintegration, because many organizations still use this traditional DDR. This was originally constructed for male combatants and does not include female victims of gendered violence. So that was really a problem to also give these girls the proper reintegration, because the whole intervention with this DDR program was not including them. And actually I've read quite a lot about the Global Survivors Fund, the organization co-created by Dennis Mukwege. And in my opinion, what I read from the papers, it has the most successful process yet, because they actually look at the needs of the survivors. They ask what they need, which is like
you can't really help trauma if you're going to just follow like something black and white.
But you had a lot of like other organizations or NGOs that thought we need to help, but Boko Haram, because it's translated to education is forbidden, they thought we need to build schools, buy books. That's what a lot of intervention looked like, but it didn't really help.
But in your perspective, what do you think that would be the best way to reintegrate these girls? Or generally people facing this situation?
So I would follow kind of the approach of the GSF organization, which is that they have established a steering committee with victims who have been reintegrated or like who are back in the communities. And in this committees, they are together with other like religious leaders and civil society, and are part of this community where they make plans about the community, and it gives them an active role in improving their situation, and also to get again in touch with the whole community, because often they've been stigmatized by them, and really listen to what the survivors want. If they want education, you can help them getting back to school. If they want financial
assistance,
then you can help them probably build their own businesses so they can come back on their feet.
But often the victim or survivors of sexual violence, sometimes they are just not accepted in their community, and that is one of the objectives of sexual violence being used as a
Yeah.
weapon. The idea behind is to disconnect survivors to their community originally.
Yeah.
Because some, and I observed that, some they don't want to be qualified as survivor
No,
or
that's
victim. They
true.
don't like that statue. And they are just autonomous and they want to go back to their society.
You just want to
the
be treated
problem-
normally. After.
Yeah, the problem is that they already have that stigma.
Yeah.
And you can give them money, you can give them education or whatever. Some they even studied.
Yeah.
So you can give them whatever thing that you think that's gonna help them, but still it's not their need, and at the same time they cannot get what they need. What do you think then is the best approach for that?
Yeah, that is really difficult, and I also have seen this in the Chibok case of like girls coming back to their families and the families rejecting them, and also
Crazy.
it's really terrible. Also, when they came back with children, it was even more difficult because these children were seen as Boko Harams.
Yeah. And in some cases, even some people, they're considered like they wanted it.
Yeah,
Some communities they do that. They say like,
You
you
don't piss
wanted
me
it
off.
if you were if you were
Piss me
raped,
off.
you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
avoid it, you could refuse or whatever, and they're just stigmatized
They're
in
just
that way.
little girls.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah,
So that is really a difficult question. I wish I had like a nice answer to that. But yeah, you should work with the community, and also, well, it is really difficult also for like an NGO or like a outsider of like Nigeria to like say, oh, this is how you have to do it, because you don't really know. Like first you have to understand the community and the culture better to like
Yeah.
to help to understand also why these girls are so harshly rejected, but then also have like mediations with the community, and also helping the girls to become like independent again, so they can also, for example, there was a story of a woman who got her own shop, and then slowly the community came to her, bought groceries, whatever. And it helped her to regain the power and agency and to be seen as part of the community again.
Yeah.
But it is a really difficult and long process.
Yeah, but I also think like if with sexual victims especially, they have a pattern of not wanting to acknowledge that they
No.
are victims.
Yeah.
But I think the only way to do that is psychological help.
Yeah, because
And
also,
not like in intensity, but more like acknowledge and accept the fact that this happened to them instead of just glossing over it.
Because they also have a lot of victims who don't even recognize themselves as victims, because that was also interesting. Rape was not in the Nigerian statute. It was not illegal. How do you say?
Yeah. Wasn't
criminalized.
criminalized.
So criminalized
Yeah.
yet. So how do you like the first step from any intervention or organizations was to like explain that actually what happened to them is not right.
Yeah.
And so that's also another step that you have to think about. And I can only imagine that people also, like victims, that they have difficulties acknowledging that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also hard to be in a country that doesn't have the mindset that they have in the West here.
Yeah. So you really have to be aware of that before you have crazy interventions.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
It was a very interesting
It's been
conversation.
already half an hour.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh.
The topic is just interesting. Yeah. And I think it is interesting already to talk about it.
Yeah.
And more we talk about it, more we think about possible solutions. But what do you think like is a long-term solution for this situation or strategy of using sexual violence as a weapon in conflict?
So a long-term solution would be to increase the awareness of that this is really a strategy, and that the victims are actually victims, but they're also not just passive. And they should be helped by interventions that really focus on them and not just on any agenda. And you start by talking to them what they really need, and also talking to them sounds really easy, but you also have to be really aware of their trauma. and that by talking about it, they could be re-traumatized. And the whole process of reintegration is so difficult and such a long-term process. So you should, you need interventions that are also made for a long run, because it cannot just be fixed in like a really short time. And what I learned in my research was that the intervention should be gender transformative, meaning that it should also really change like this inequality that women still experience. So that would be my answer.
Yeah, because if I ask this question, it's because my work focuses more on conflict, and and that is even the focus of my thesis also. Most of conflicts, they end up with negotiations, and often it's among the main actors, so the government mostly with rebel group or other actors that take guns in conflict, and often they get amnesty, and it creates this same cycle, and it is an incisive event, that if it doesn't work, I can take guns again, and I will go through the same cycle.
Yeah.
But this also negates the fact that they have victims, and sometimes victims, they are just considered to be just casualty in the conflict. So how to break also this cycle?
No, I think the right approach would definitely be to invite victims at the table as well, because if you don't do that, it's also, the risk is increased that those victims also start another armed conflict, because they maybe feel
Excluded.
Overlooked.
And you can't just decide without them, like should really be changed.
All right. Thank you very much. It was really insightful so far. I don't know if you have something that you want to say at the end, like when you look at the discussion in general.
There's so many more to be said about the whole topic, which I can't even like.
It should probably be like a 4-part series or something.
So if you're interested about more,
do you think you would be comfortable with like sharing your thesis to people?
Why not?
I mean, like,
are you planning to publish it like as an article or something?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
No.
It would be interesting.
Thank you.
I would read it.
I can share it with you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's really nice.
And thank you guys again for joining us today. And follow us, subscribe.
We'll have more interesting subjects.
Like.
And comment.